Good evening, Bahamas. This is NB12 broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Here's what's making news tonight. F&M Chairman Charles Maynard is laid to rest. School policing will be in full force, according to police. The Prime Minister promises to enforce the Freedom of Information Act, plus a mass spaying and neutering program announced today. Those stories and much more on the way. I'm Nakia DeVoe, and NB12 starts right now. Joining us here at NB12. The late chairman of the Free National Movement, Charles Maynard, was buried this afternoon at Woodlawn Gardens Cemetery. But before his body was interred, hundreds gathered at Christchurch Cathedral to bid farewell to their brother Charlie. Vonig Toot was there and has this report.
Tears flowed freely at Christchurch Cathedral as the nation bid farewell to one of its finest sons. Charles Maynard was a man loved by many, and it showed. Political leaders, his brothers from Columbus Lodge, and members of the sports and Jonkunu communities turned out in large numbers to pay their respects to the former cabinet minister and member of parliament. The cathedral was so packed that dozens of mourners gathered under a tent for nearly 4 hours to watch the official funeral on television. Maynard's brother Edward broke down as he remembered his baby brother's relationship with their sister Nina.
Oh, Nina. Oh, Nina. That was his protector. She was his best friend. They were inseparable. No one could lay a hand on him. Nobody could touch him.
Maynard was more than just a family man. He was a promising politician. In May 2007, he was elected to Parliament as the MP for Golden Isles. Shortly after, he was appointed Minister of State for Youth, Sports and Culture and was eventually given full ministerial status. Former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram says he demonstrated a level of fearlessness in the House of Assembly and at the cabinet table.
From his election to Parliament at the age of 37, and over 5 short years, Charlie demonstrated that age-old life lesson that is not the quantity of the days given, rather, is the quality of how we live those days, with passion and commitment that makes all the difference. In politics, Charlie earned the respect of his colleagues.
Following the Free National Movement's defeat in the May 7th general election, Maynard was elected national chairman. He served in that capacity for just 3 months before his death. Opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis says the party has lost its greatest defender.
Charlie, as we affectionately called him, has left a void within the F&M. The F&M feels his loss. I feel his loss, friends and family. I have lost a good friend, a supporter, my chairman.
Before joining the F&M, though, Maynard sought to carve out his own political identity by forming the Coalition for Democratic Reform with Dr. Bernard Nottage in 2000. Following the party's defeat in the 2002 general election, Nottage eventually returned to the Progressive Liberal Party, while Maynard and other CDR members joined the F&M.
After the 2007 general elections, in his first interview, he stated that he had made the right decision. His dream to sit in Parliament and make decisions on behalf of the people had been realized. He was filled with so much joy and enthusiasm that even though I was on the opposite side, I was happy for him that he had gotten the opportunity to serve and to be part of a government.
Nottage says he never imagined that the 42-year-old would die just 3 months after the general election. Father Neil Nairn of St. Agnes Anglican Parish says Maynard's sudden passing should serve as a reminder that life is fleeting.
And death, my friends, my fellow citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, is no respecter of person. So it does not matter the color of your skin, or how young you are, or how old you are, or how good looking you are, or how wealthy you are, or how educated you are. You will die.
He added that we must not just mourn Maynard's death, but celebrate his life.
And now I'm asking the rhyming brothers, who's God fearless? Now Lily, tell me, pray tell me, who's gonna fill Charles' shoes?
Charles Maynard may be gone, but those he left behind say they will ensure that his legacy lives on. Reporting for NB12, I'm Vonique Toot.
The government today pledging that police will be back in all public schools throughout New Providence starting September 3rd as the Christie administration moves to fulfill another campaign promise. Paige McCartney has details.
The government promised to implement school-based policing in its Charter for Governance prior to the May 7th election. It's a part of the government's Comprehensive Urban Renewal 2.0 program. According to Minister of Education Jerome Fitzgerald, officials met with high school principals in May this year to get their feedback on what should be included in the program and how it should be implemented. According to officials, week after next Monday, a school policing unit will be established in each school division and officers assigned to each government school. Commissioner of Police Ellison Greenslade.
All members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force are part of the program. We have selected distinct officers who will be assigned to each school on a daily basis. Some schools will have 3, some will have more than 3, some schools might have 2. It depends on the particular school. However, every single police officer is going to be attuned to what is happening come the opening of school.
The officers stationed on each campus will be called school-based policing officers, according to the education minister. He said their main duties will be to establish a protocol for the prevention and investigation of all instances of violence and criminal activity at schools. However, Fitzgerald stressed that they are only to complement existing disciplinary programs. He said the ministry anticipates that there may be some challenges initially that may need to be ironed out later on in the school year.
It's going to take probably a little time for everyone to get adjusted to what is going on. And so there are always challenges in any new policy or new initiative. The point is, though, the key is, as the Commissioner stated, everyone is moving in the same direction. And these initiatives have either been ongoing or have been introduced in one form or another. We're just now trying to bring everything together and strengthen it. This is really going to be as strong as the initiative has ever been.
Greenslade said, however, that at any time, officers stationed on campus can override school disciplinary protocol.
If an officer has reasonable grounds, wherever that officer is in the Bahamas, has reasonable grounds to suspect that a crime has been committed or is about to be committed, the law gives that officer the right to take action. Yes. Fundamental. We're not only concerned about what's going to happen on school property, but what happens on the way to and from school. And we send a clarion call to all. If you feel that you're going to be able to interfere with students to and from school, you are going to be making a mistake.
An official said this won't replace the responsibilities of administrators and security officers on school campuses. For NB12, I'm Paige McCartney.
Well, police are tonight looking for a man who stabbed and tried to rob an off-duty police officer. According to police, that off-duty officer was in the Flamingo Gardens area around 4 o'clock this morning. That's when he was approached by a man who stabbed him in the neck and tried to rob him. That officer was able to fight off his attacker, but the man got away. The officer is in the hospital in stable condition. Police have launched an investigation into the matter and are asking for the public's help with any information. In other news, Prime Minister Perry Christie yesterday pledged to enforce the Freedom of Information Act and institute an information commission within this current term. However, Christie did not specify when the FOIA would come into force. The act was first introduced in Parliament last October, and a revamped version was passed in the Senate in February. It also reduced the fine an offender will face for contravening the legislation from $100,000 to $10,000 and further restricted access to public information.
All of those matters are under review by the Attorney General's office, and in this term, we're going to bring, I argue that we were elected to do big things, and therefore I am fully aware as the leader of the Progressive Liberal Party government that we are going to be judged not on what we say, but on what we do. And that from my point of view, we are, as a cabinet, mandated to do things, and to do things that sort of looking at the next 20, 30 years.
As with other FOIAs throughout the hemisphere, not all government information will be available, including records that would compromise the country's security, as well as confidential communication to the government by or on behalf of a foreign jurisdiction or international organization, or information which could jeopardize the security of a prison and cabinet papers. The position of Information Commissioner shall be appointed by the Governor General after consultation with Cabinet and after a process of transparency and openness, according to the FOIA.